You need to understand this now. Opportunity does not float around waiting for the right moment to show up. It is manufactured, summoned, and captured by those who command their thoughts and discipline their words. If you're waiting for luck, you'll wait your entire life. The reality is brutal but liberating. You are not a passive observer in the drama of your own success. You are the writer, the director, and the lead actor. Your thinking, sharp or dull, positive or negative, drives the story. Your words, lazy or intentional, weak or decisive, broadcast the plot. This is not philosophy for idle dreamers. This is how the top 1% live and win. The rest make excuses. Every day you open your mouth is a day you make a declaration to yourself and the world about who you are and what you expect. Words have gravity. They pull realities into your orbit. When you continually announce, "I can't," "it's too hard," or "I never catch a break," you are issuing commands for failure, and your subconscious listens. You can try to hide from it, pretend it's harmless, but the mind is always under construction. It builds whatever blueprint you hand it. Most men hand it blueprints of mediocrity, limitation, and scarcity. Then they curse the world for building what they designed. Here's a truth you must accept. The world is not indifferent to your self-talk. It is listening. Every word shapes your identity. Every phrase sets the temperature of your belief. If you train yourself to speak with power, clarity, and certainty, even before you have proof, your mind responds. It searches for evidence to make your declarations real. This is why you must become ruthless in policing your words. Mediocrity begins with one careless sentence, repeated daily, until it becomes your character. Excellence is born from speech that never flinches in the face of challenge. The successful talk themselves into greatness long before the world takes notice. This is not about wishful thinking. It is about the relentless discipline to edit your mental script until it matches the future you demand. There is no room for maybe. There is no power in if. You must learn to speak in terms of certainty and command. Replace "I hope" with "I expect." Trade "I wish" for "I will." If you are not speaking what you want, you are surrendering to what you do not want. Never forget, words are a steering wheel, not a decoration. Most people get stuck here. They think their environment controls them when it's the reverse. They recite the news, echo the complaints of others, and replay old failures until their personality is nothing but a graveyard of missed chances. They infect their speech with caution and apology. They apologize for wanting more. They apologize for dreaming big. No one was born a winner, but everyone is born with the right to declare themselves one. The world responds to boldness, not hesitation. If you want to attract opportunity, you have to sound like opportunity. You must train yourself to walk and talk as if you already possess what you seek. Not arrogance, but certainty. There is a profound difference. Arrogance is empty. Certainty is earned by relentless discipline of mind and word. When you speak with certainty, doors begin to open, and people begin to see you as a leader. Your environment rearranges itself to accommodate your expectations. That is not mystical thinking. That is the natural law of psychology and influence. Start auditing your speech. Cut out the words of weakness and doubt. Refuse to complain, even to yourself. Every time you are tempted to narrate your setbacks, redirect the story toward what you are building. Declare it, repeat it, live inside it, and watch how opportunities begin to recognize your authority. Most of the world speaks of limitations, so opportunity passes them by. Opportunity is attracted to those who announce what they want with clarity and never apologize for pursuing it. Guard your conversations. If you let the world fill your mind with complaints, fears, and limits, Your subconscious will build a fortress around mediocrity. If you spend your energy with people who blame, moan, and whine, you will inherit their problems as your identity. Instead, gravitate toward those who speak the language of progress and possibility. Borrow their confidence until it is your own. Then become the person others come to for clarity and power. There is a profound advantage in becoming a master of your words. You don't have to be the most talented, the wealthiest, or the most educated. You only need to control your speech so thoroughly that you start to believe yourself, so that belief becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. The world opens to those who have decided, long before the outcome, that they will persist until they win. The evidence always arrives after the declaration, never before. The timid wait for proof. The successful create it with their persistence and their words. Never underestimate this. The world does not move for the silent or the apologetic. It moves for the determined, the loud, and the unashamed. Every day, people are building wealth, power, and influence simply because they refuse to let their words sabotage their destiny. They catch themselves slipping into old stories and immediately correct course. They do not tolerate defeatist thinking. When you make this your standard, your life will change in ways you cannot yet imagine. You must understand that your mind is always eavesdropping on your lips. If you are careless with your speech, your mind becomes careless with your destiny. When you speak what you want and back it with action, you create an environment of inevitability. Opportunities are not found. They are created by people who talk like leaders long before the world acknowledges their crown. If you want the world to treat you as a king, you must first speak as one. Every successful person you admire has mastered this secret. They train their thoughts to believe, their words to reinforce belief, and their actions to make their speech reality. They are not smarter, luckier, or better connected. They are more disciplined in how they think and speak. That is the standard. Raise yours. The next level is waiting for you, but it will only recognize the sound of confidence, not the whimper of doubt. Your journey starts now. Speak with clarity. Think with power. Act with conviction. The world is listening, and it will respond. If you are serious about transforming your life, you must begin with the most uncomfortable, unrelenting scrutiny of your own mind. Most people are desperate to change their results, but almost none are willing to change their thought patterns or police their language. They are like men who expect a new house to rise while they pour the same faulty foundation every morning. Make no mistake. If you repeat yesterday's words, you will repeat yesterday's outcomes. If you continue to speak as the defeated, the broke, the invisible, you will inherit that identity over and over, year after year, until your life is nothing but a tired rerun of regret and wasted potential. You must hold yourself to the highest possible standard of mental discipline. This is not a matter of comfort. It is a matter of survival for anyone determined to rise above the crowd. The world is saturated with noise, voices that gossip, criticize, complain, and argue. Weak-minded men echo the language of the masses and wonder why they never get ahead. Strong-minded individuals stand guard at the gates of their mind. They select every thought, every phrase, as carefully as a craftsman chooses the finest materials. They understand that sloppy language creates a sloppy existence. Precision in speech is the first act of creation. It is not enough to avoid negative words. You must actively flood your mind and your conversations with the language of expansion. Declare your goals as facts in motion. Speak the future you desire into the present moment until your brain accepts it as inevitable. This is not delusion. This is strategic influence over your own subconscious, which is the source of all your actions, habits, and results. If you continue to say, "I am not ready," "I don't know how," or "I always mess up," then you are ordering your subconscious to maintain that reality. The subconscious mind has no sense of humor. It does not understand sarcasm or doubt. It obeys your most repeated thoughts and phrases as law. Here is where most people fail. They want the reward of change without the discipline of repetition. You cannot utter a single powerful affirmation once and expect mountains to move. Consistency is the law of growth. If you water your mind with a trickle of possibility, expect a barren field. If you flood your inner world with unstoppable, forward-driving language day after day, your environment will eventually surrender to your will. Every time you feel resistance, when it is hardest to speak positively, is the exact moment that your subconscious is listening most closely. This is where you must force your old identity into silence and replace it with the language of your next level. You will be tested. The world will try to convince you that nothing changes, that fate is fixed, that hope is foolish. Do not accept these lies. Most people are terrified of standing out, of declaring greatness, while others are still complaining about how hard life is. Do not seek approval. Approval is the reward for those who choose mediocrity. Opportunity is the reward for those who choose courage. When you speak with unbreakable certainty, you may make others uncomfortable, but you will also magnetize the right people, the right circumstances, and the right resources. Life organizes itself around leaders, not doubters. Discipline your inner circle. The people you allow to speak into your life are either reinforcing your vision or sabotaging it with doubt, envy, or fear. Audit your associations with the ruthlessness of a general preparing for war. If your friends, family, or colleagues habitually drag conversations toward pessimism, scarcity, or gossip, you must create distance or risk adopting their beliefs as your own. Remember, you do not rise above your environment, you rise to the level of your standards. Make it your mission to speak only with those who honor the language of possibility and ambition. Every morning as you wake, your mind is malleable, soft clay, waiting to be shaped. Most squander these early moments with anxious thoughts about what could go wrong or idle chatter about what others are doing. Instead, seize these moments and direct them with intent. Speak your vision aloud. Claim your outcomes before you act. Train your mind to expect good, to command success, to anticipate opportunity. By noon, the world will try to infect you with its doubts and fears. By nightfall, you must again wash your mind in the language of strength. This is daily hygiene for the mind, the difference between a life of drift and a life of deliberate power. You must also discipline your self-talk in private moments. How you speak to yourself when no one is listening is the most honest measure of your belief. Do you scold yourself for every mistake? Do you label yourself a failure at the first setback? Or do you practice the internal conversation of winners, turning every obstacle into a statement of resilience, every defeat into a lesson that sharpens your will? You will never outperform your own self-image. Speak to yourself as you would speak to a champion, because that is exactly who you must become if you are to win at the highest levels. Notice, too, that the world has a way of echoing your dominant frequency. If you walk into a room with enthusiasm, confidence, and expectation, people are drawn to you. Doors that remain closed to the timid will open for the one who believes he belongs on the other side. The unspoken energy of your words precedes you. Whether you are seeking partnerships, clients, mentors, or investors, your words are your credentials. No one is inspired to join a man who is unsure of himself. People invest in belief before they invest in ability. If you cannot speak your vision with conviction, why should anyone else take it seriously? Do not let this power scare you into silence. The responsibility to command your words is not a burden, It is a privilege reserved for those willing to lead themselves before they lead others. Never again say, "I hope I can," maybe one day, or "I'll try." The universe has no interest in half-hearted intentions. Speak with finality. Speak with resolve. Speak with the quiet thunder of a man who has already made up his mind and is simply catching up to his destiny. This kind of speech will cost you the comfort of the herd, but it will buy you a life that others envy and never understand. When doubt creeps in, and it always does, you must double down on your declarations. Speak over your fears. Narrate your life as a hero's journey, not a victim's cautionary tale. Never let the fear of appearing arrogant stop you from claiming what you desire. The greatest arrogance is to think the universe owes you anything for silence. Speak. Demand. Persist. Your words are a creative force, shaping reality long before your actions arrive. You are not here to blend in. You are here to become magnetic to opportunity, to draw wealth, influence, and progress by the deliberate and relentless use of your mind and speech. Train daily. Speak deliberately. Watch the world move. You have come this far because something inside you refuses to settle for the fate of the average. The majority of men allow the conditions of life to dictate their expectations, never realizing that expectation itself is the root from which all reality grows. If you have not yet grasped the full magnitude of this power, pause and look around you. Every invention, every fortune, every triumph in the story of humanity first took root as a conviction in the mind of a single individual. That conviction was nurtured, spoken, and reaffirmed until it solidified into belief. Then, and only then, did it materialize in the world. If you want the world to deliver new opportunities to your door, you must first become a master architect of belief within yourself. This is not the hollow optimism of daydreamers. It is the relentless discipline of creators. Men and women who refuse to accept the hand they are dealt as the hand they must keep. Think of opportunity not as luck, not as some fleeting moment of chance, but as a living thing, one that is attracted to the vibration of clear, decisive thought and repelled by the muddied energy of indecision and confusion. Your job is to refine your mind so completely that you become a beacon to what you seek. It is your responsibility to radiate the frequency of success, ambition, and readiness so strongly that chance itself cannot ignore you. Most people have it backwards. They believe that opportunity precedes belief. They wait for signs, evidence, and proof before they permit themselves to speak with certainty or think with ambition. And so the universe gives them exactly what they expect, waiting, stalling, postponing. The law is merciless. What you broadcast internally and externally, you summon. Your speech is a signal, and the world listens far more closely than you realize. When you complain, when you fret, when you lower your standards to fit in or to avoid discomfort, you do not just miss opportunities, you repel them. Even worse, you become a magnet for setbacks and frustration, drawing in experiences that confirm your lack of faith. A man's life is nothing but the sum total of his dominant thoughts, expressed in word and eventually in deed. The majority are ruled by habits of speech that sabotage their progress. They think they are merely venting, being realistic, or sharing facts, but in truth, they are casting spells, building barriers that stand between them and their desires. You do not get what you want. You get what you expect and what you reinforce. Speak often of your vision, not as a distant dream, but as an unfolding certainty. Every day, take inventory of your language. Do your words betray hesitation? Do you apologize for wanting more, for striving, for breaking free of the ordinary? If so, you must correct yourself immediately. No one will believe in a man who does not believe in himself. You must also remember that the subconscious mind is literal, uncritical, and infinitely obedient. It cannot distinguish between jest and command. If you joke about failure, speak lightly of defeat, or sarcastically undermine your own efforts, you are programming your deepest self for stagnation. The time for careless humor about your life's direction is over. If you wish to live a life most people cannot comprehend, you must speak in ways most people do not dare. Every word you utter about yourself is a message to the infinite intelligence within you, and it is a message that will be answered. The world is overflowing with men who play small and disguise it as humility. They believe it is noble to lower their expectations, to keep quiet about their ambitions, to wait quietly in line for the blessings of life. But the universe does not reward silence. It responds to the brave, the bold, the explicit. The man who states his intentions again and again with unwavering conviction eventually shapes the world to match his vision. He does not apologize for his desires. He does not dilute his language to make others comfortable. He is a living, breathing declaration of what is possible. Let there be no confusion. The way you think about yourself and speak about your future is not just preparation, it is the act of creation itself. If you permit even a hint of resignation or bitterness into your speech, you have already begun to destroy the foundation of what you are building. If you notice a pattern of negative talk or limiting beliefs, attack them with urgency. Replace them immediately with words that affirm your power, your direction, your inevitability. It is not enough to avoid negative speech. You must replace it over and over until the new language becomes your automatic response to every challenge and every opportunity. You will discover that as you change your thinking and speech, your environment will begin to shift in subtle ways. Opportunities that once seemed closed will open, not because the world has changed, but because your mind has. You will notice resources, relationships, and solutions that were always present but hidden by the fog of your former beliefs. When you become certain, the uncertain parts of your life start to clarify. Life rewards the man who makes up his mind. You must also recognize the immense influence your words have on others. The people around you, partners, employees, children, friends, are listening and absorbing your language. If you speak as a leader, you create leaders. If you speak as a victim, you breed victims. Your influence does not end with yourself. It ripples outward, shaping the tone of every room you enter, the trajectory of every project you touch, the character of every person you reach. If you want your world to rise, you must first raise your own expectations and never let them drop for the comfort of the crowd. There will be moments of fatigue, of doubt, of apparent failure. In those moments, your language becomes even more important. When others would complain, you must declare your resilience. When others retreat into excuses, you must reaffirm your responsibility. When others shrink from challenge, you must say, I am built for this. I am here to win. I am becoming unstoppable. Speak these words with such regularity and force that they become the rhythm of your soul. You are always teaching your mind what to expect from the world, and the world, in turn, reflects those expectations right back to you. It is easy to underestimate the power of incremental shifts. A single word change can reroute a lifetime. Each day, focus your attention on raising the standard of your thoughts and your words. Review your conversations and internal monologue. Are you speaking of obstacles or opportunities? Of setbacks or strategies? Of who you have been or who you are becoming? Every answer reveals whether you are magnetizing abundance or pushing it away. There is no neutral ground. Your language is either a tool for growth or a weapon for destruction. Never allow the language of the defeated into your mind, even in jest. Do not join in the chorus of complaints that fills the air around most men. Become known as the one who speaks vision, who inspires belief, who makes others want to rise higher simply by being in your presence. This reputation will itself attract new alliances, new doors, new challenges worthy of your growing power. The energy of belief is contagious. Spread it and watch as the world conspires to meet you at the level of your conviction. You are not a passive observer of life. You are an active creator, and your tools are your mind and your tongue. What you say becomes what you think, and what you think becomes what you receive. Refuse to speak or think in any way that limits your future. Replace every doubt with declaration. Replace every worry with a statement of faith. Speak your dreams aloud until they become reality, and then speak new ones. The law is unbreakable. Opportunities will find their way to the man whose mind and mouth are in perfect alignment with his highest self. Guard this alignment as you would your very life, for, in truth, your life depends upon it. A time comes in every person's life when their results, good or bad, are no longer a mystery, but a direct reflection of the language they have chosen to speak over themselves. The evidence surrounds you. The man who speaks as a champion, who insists upon his own worth, who describes his ambitions in bold, unwavering words, is the same man who attracts progress. The one who minimizes his own potential with weak language, who tells stories of limitation, scarcity, and maybe someday finds the door of opportunity closed. Understand, the laws that govern the universe are always at work, responding not to wishes or hopes, but to the commands you issue through your spoken word and dominant thoughts. The reason most people never attract opportunity is because they have trained themselves to speak small. They do not realize that their self-deprecating jokes, their daily complaints, their endless conversations about what they cannot do have become a prayer for defeat. The universe does not discriminate. It is deaf to sarcasm and immune to false humility. It responds only to the energy, repetition, and emotion behind your declarations. Every time you say, "I can't," "it's too hard," or "I'm not the type," you etch that message into the fabric of your destiny. You reinforce the walls of your own prison, brick by brick, until you are surrounded by the results of your own neglected power. Opportunity does not come as a knock on the door from some mysterious outside force. It rises up within you when you choose to see yourself as worthy, when you allow your thoughts to dwell on possibility, and when you shape your words to match the person you intend to become. The man who makes a habit of declaring his future with certainty finds that chance, luck, and fortune begin to orbit his life with increasing frequency. This is not coincidence. It is cause and effect. Ask yourself right now, what is the dominant story you tell about yourself, your capabilities, your prospects? Is it the story of a man who expects greatness, or the weary fable of one who has already surrendered? If your language is littered with "I'll try," "I hope," "maybe," then you are not yet ready for the abundance you seek. The universe, like any powerful employer, promotes only those who declare themselves ready for greater responsibility, not those who hesitate, shrink, or broadcast their fears. Let no one misunderstand the power of persistent, intentional self-talk. This is not the empty exercise of repeating hollow phrases in front of a mirror. This is the act of taking full command of the words that leave your mouth and the thoughts that echo in your mind. It is the conscious creation of a new self-identity. Each day you must become the coach, the architect, the drill sergeant of your own mind. You must identify the words that reinforce limitation and eliminate them with military precision. Replace them relentlessly, with affirmations of power, progress, and certainty. I am a magnet for opportunity. I am prepared to receive and multiply every chance the world brings me. I create value wherever I go. Let these statements become your new normal, not just in private, but in every conversation you have. If you want to know who will rise and who will fall, listen to how people describe themselves and their circumstances. The language of the ascending is filled with certainty, direction, and expectation. They speak of what will be, not just what is. They do not allow setbacks to poison their narrative. They refuse to let today's challenges define tomorrow's possibilities. Their words are weapons, clearing the way for new opportunities to present themselves. Their very presence radiates possibility, and others can feel it, even if they cannot name it. To become a magnet for opportunity, you must also become ruthlessly disciplined about what you will allow yourself to say. Do not join in the complaints of the masses. Do not repeat the words of the defeated. When someone laments their circumstances, offer a vision for something better. When a group begins to gossip or criticize, redirect the energy to solutions and possibilities. In doing so, you train your mind and signal to the universe that you are no longer available for mediocrity. This discipline extends to how you speak of your goals and dreams. Never dilute your ambitions to make others comfortable. The world has enough small talk, enough people willing to shrink for the approval of the crowd. Let your language reflect your highest vision, regardless of how it is received. Speak your goals aloud, not as requests, but as facts in progress. I am building a fortune. I am attracting powerful allies. I am growing every day. These are not lies, they are seeds, and your faith in them waters their growth. Beware the trap of rehearsing failure before it happens. Most men lose before they begin, not because the world is against them, but because they have trained their minds to anticipate defeat. They rehearse every possible setback, narrate every obstacle, and then act surprised when their words come true. Stop giving energy to what you do not want. Do not narrate defeat. Speak only of victory, of lessons learned, of resilience gained, of the next step forward. Opportunity finds its way to those who are perpetually in motion, who see themselves as in process, not as finished products or permanent failures. Consistency is the hidden force behind the attraction of opportunity. It is not enough to speak powerfully once or twice. The universe is listening for patterns, for the deep undercurrent of expectation that colors all your language. Decide now. You will speak, think, and act as the man who expects the best every single day. You will become so habitual in your language of abundance that doubt can find no foothold in your mind. Your default setting will be to talk of progress, of solution, of destiny, not of drama, blame, or excuses. You must also understand the role of gratitude in attracting opportunity. This is not the hollow gratitude of polite conversation, but the active, lived experience of recognizing every small opening, every minor victory, every lesson as a sign that more is coming. When you speak often of what you are grateful for, you program your mind to expect more to be grateful for. This expectation becomes self-fulfilling, drawing further reasons for gratitude into your experience. Speak aloud your appreciation for progress, no matter how small. Give thanks for the ideas, the people, the timing that arrive at just the right moment. In doing so, you open the gates for even greater opportunity. Another powerful key is to become a storyteller of possibility. The stories you tell about yourself, your past, your future, are blueprints for what you attract next. If you describe your life as a series of defeats, unfinished projects, or missed chances, you teach your subconscious mind to repeat the pattern. Instead, craft a narrative that celebrates growth, resilience, and the relentless pursuit of something greater. Even your so-called failures are assets, proof that you are a man in motion, refusing to stand still or accept less than you deserve. Your story, told with conviction, is a call to the universe. I am ready. Send more. Pay careful attention to the company you keep. The people you spend the most time with influence your language and, by extension, your results. Surround yourself with those who speak with vision, ambition, and certainty. Avoid the pessimists, the cynics, the complainers. Their words are poison, and exposure will weaken your resolve. Instead, join forces with the rare few who challenge you to think bigger, speak bolder, and expect more from life. In their company, your language will rise, and with it, your opportunities. Your environment matters. Fill your space with reminders of your vision. Post your affirmations where you will see them. Read aloud the words that define your desired future. Let the walls, the air, and every object you touch reinforce your self-concept as a magnet for opportunity. The more you immerse yourself in this environment, the more natural it becomes to speak and think in alignment with your highest aims. Remember, there will always be those who mock, doubt, or resist your commitment to this path. They may accuse you of arrogance, delusion, or wishful thinking. Let their words fall away. Their world is not your world. Your results will be your proof. You are not responsible for their limitations, only for refusing to accept them as your own. Now, do not waver. Your task is to become the most disciplined speaker of your own destiny. Every word is an investment, every phrase a brick in the mansion you are building. Let no idle sentence slip past your lips. Let no thought of defeat linger unchallenged. You are shaping not just your future, but the future of all those who will come into contact with your story, your energy, your example. Let the world watch. Let them wait. Let them wonder how you continue to rise when so many fall. The secret is simple and absolute. You attract what you think. You receive what you say. And you become what you declare. The time for hesitation is over. Speak your greatness into the world, and let opportunity chase you down. You must now confront the final, unyielding barrier that stands between the average man and the abundant life he pretends to desire. This is the barrier of belief. Most people do not fail because the world is closed to them. They fail because their own minds are barricaded against belief. The truth is as sharp as it is simple. You will never attract what you secretly do not believe you deserve. And you will never speak with authority about a destiny you have not convinced yourself belongs to you. This is why the man who walks with the confidence of the inevitable, who says, I am success in motion, I am the magnet for everything I desire, will always surpass the man who says, I hope it works out for me, even if the latter is more talented or better positioned at the start. What you believe, you become. And what you speak, you attract. No amount of action can override the subtle, constant sabotage of a mind filled with self-doubt, internal contradiction, or hidden fear. Examine your beliefs with surgical precision. Where did you adopt the idea that wealth is not for you, or that opportunity is reserved for others? Whose voice plays in your head when you hesitate, procrastinate, or shrink from boldness? If that voice is not aligned with your vision, it must be silenced, ruthlessly and permanently. Reprogram your mind daily. Write your new beliefs, speak them, argue for them until they dominate your inner dialogue. Your new self must become so familiar, so persistent, that the old doubts die from neglect. You must also refuse the seductive comfort of the crowd. Average people gather together and speak endlessly about limits, about what cannot be done, about the dangers of dreaming too big. They are hypnotized by their own complaints, bonded by the glue of shared mediocrity. They do not want you to rise, not truly, because your elevation exposes their resignation. If you allow yourself to be shaped by their conversation, you will inherit their results. Lives of silent desperation, dreams surrendered in exchange for fleeting approval. Instead, cultivate the loneliness of greatness. Be willing to stand apart, to speak with conviction when others laugh, to defend your vision even when no one else believes. This is not arrogance. This is the discipline of destiny. Those who change the world always sound unreasonable until their results make them undeniable. What you must grasp, fully and finally, is that the universe does not give you what you want. It gives you what you expect. Expectation is a form of certainty, a magnetic command. When your language shifts from hope to expectation, the very fabric of your life begins to transform. Say, I expect to win. I expect doors to open. I expect resources, allies, opportunities to show up as I move forward. The force of expectation, backed by the energy of belief, draws events and circumstances into your orbit that no amount of pleading, wishing, or complaining can achieve. This is why the successful rarely sound desperate. They have trained their minds to expect victory, and they live in a constant state of readiness for the next breakthrough. Develop the habit of persistent, radical self-affirmation. This is not vanity. It is the mechanism by which you align your subconscious mind with the reality you wish to create. Most people spend more time criticizing themselves than building themselves. They replay every flaw, every mistake, every shortcoming until these become the script of their existence. Reverse this habit. Spend every day searching for evidence of your progress. Celebrate your own discipline, your own courage, your moments of clarity. Announce to yourself, I am more than capable. I am made for success. My mind is an unlimited reservoir of ideas and solutions. Let these declarations become your mental diet, as regular and essential as the food you eat or the air you breathe. Never forget the law of emotional resonance. Opportunity, wealth, and influence do not respond to dry words alone, but to the emotional voltage behind them. Speak your intentions, not just with words, but with feeling. Picture the man you will become. Feel the surge of pride, the energy of purpose, the certainty of accomplishment. Let your language throb with the emotional force of a man who knows where he is going and is impatient to get there. The universe is drawn to that energy, just as crowds are drawn to the voice of conviction in a world starved for certainty. Emotion is the accelerant that makes your thoughts and words burn so brightly that reality cannot ignore them. Now, realize that all greatness is constructed in solitude before it is recognized in public. The conversations you have with yourself when no one else is listening are the foundation for every opportunity that appears later. If you are careless, lazy, or negative in private, you will never be able to maintain power or influence in public. Guard your solitude. Make your internal world a sanctuary of strength, vision, and affirmation. Refuse to let even a single private thought go unchallenged if it does not serve the destiny you have chosen. This is not easy. It is not popular, but it is the only way to build the kind of unshakable belief that compels opportunity to knock again and again at your door. Action is the natural consequence of belief, not its substitute. When you believe truly and deeply, you will act boldly, consistently, and without the constant need for reassurance. The man who hesitates, who second guesses, who delays endlessly, is simply advertising to the universe that he does not yet believe. If you are not acting, return to your language, your internal conversation, your expectations, and repair them until action becomes effortless. True belief creates momentum. It does not allow procrastination to survive. Be relentless in reinforcing your environment. Fill your life with reminders of your goals, with books, audios, mentors, and daily rituals that keep your mind marinated in vision and certainty. Remove anything or anyone who poisons your thinking, who plants the seeds of doubt, who makes you ashamed of ambition or vision. You are not obligated to participate in any conversation or relationship that reduces you. You are the architect of your mind's climate. Make it a greenhouse for growth and a fortress against negativity. There is one final lesson you must never forget. Opportunity never leaves you empty-handed. Even in loss, even in failure, even in rejection, the man who thinks and speaks rightly is always being prepared for something greater. He is never truly defeated. He is being sharpened, pruned, and refined for the next level. The universe is never punishing you. It is always testing the strength of your conviction. If you maintain your belief, your language, your expectation, you will rise higher each time. Most quit just before the breakthrough, not because of the difficulty, but because their own words made them believe escape was easier than endurance. Train yourself to outlast the storm. Say, I bend, but I do not break. I am being prepared for greater things. Your ability to keep your language and thoughts aligned with your vision in adversity is the ultimate separator between those who get what they want and those who merely talk about it. As you move forward, decide that your life will be an ongoing demonstration of these principles. You will speak as a man of destiny, think as a man of abundance, expect as a man of victory. Let every sentence you utter become a silent contract with the universe, drawing resources, people, timing, and opportunities into your hands. Never speak against yourself. Never allow others to recruit you into the army of the average. Be different. Be relentless. Be the man who expects, attracts, and receives every opportunity he requires for greatness. Let your results shout where your words once whispered. You are not waiting for opportunity. Opportunity is waiting for the man you are becoming. Finish the process. Speak your success into being and then go out and claim it every single day. You are not here to merely survive. You are here to conquer. If you have followed this path so far, you now realize that the invisible world within you is the true birthplace of every visible achievement. The men and women who stand at the summit of wealth, influence, and greatness have mastered the silent battle within their minds and have turned their tongues into the instruments of destiny. Understand this. The world is a mirror. It reflects back to you not what you plead for, but what you demand of it, first in thought, then in speech, and only then in action. The difference between those who live in obscurity and those who live in abundance is not luck or circumstance. It is the self-discipline to shape every word, every private thought, every spoken sentence into a command to life itself. Refuse to entertain the language of limitation any longer. It is poison. Every time you say, I can't, you sign your name to mediocrity. Every time you dwell on why you might fail, you dig the grave of your own future. Greatness is not reserved for the loudest or the luckiest. It is reserved for those who refuse to contradict their own vision. Decide now that you will not speak of defeat, not even in jest. You will not gossip about failure, not even when others invite you. You will not give energy to doubt, not even as a private indulgence. Train yourself to speak only of possibility, only of solutions, only of what can and must be done. Every day, begin with this ritual. Before the world has a chance to impress its doubts upon you, impress your certainty upon yourself. Stand before the mirror, not merely to see your reflection, but to sculpt it. Speak your intentions aloud. I am the architect of my fate. I attract opportunity because I expect it. I am prepared for it. I am worthy of it. Repeat these words until they are not just utterances, but the bedrock of your identity. The subconscious mind is always listening, always recording, always obeying. Feed it words of courage, capability, and ambition, and watch as your behavior and then your results begin to rise in lockstep. Your power multiplies when your thoughts, words, and actions are aligned. Most men are scattered. They think one thing, say another, and do a third. This chaos produces frustration and stagnation. The moment you unify your inner dialogue and your outer speech with decisive, disciplined action, you become unstoppable. You will feel a surge of energy, a lifting of the burdens that once weighed you down, because you have eliminated the static of inner conflict. This is the secret of all great achievers. They are internally congruent, and that congruence radiates outward as irresistible confidence. Now, the world will test your resolve. Expect it. You will encounter the cynics, the pessimists, the voices of warning disguised as friends, the experts who tell you why it cannot be done. They are not your enemies. They are merely the echoes of their own limitations. Respond to them not with argument, but with results. Let your consistency and rising influence do the speaking. When you are tempted to shrink, to apologize for your ambition, remember this: no man has ever created anything of value by playing small to make others comfortable. Be gracious, but be relentless. Never compromise your vision to fit the expectations of those who stopped dreaming long ago. Remember, every word you utter is either a builder or a destroyer. Choose wisely. When you praise, encourage, and affirm yourself and others, you plant seeds that return to you multiplied. When you complain, criticize, or predict doom, you pollute your own garden and harvest weeds. The world's most powerful men and women are not those with the least adversity, but those who speak strength into the storm. They declare victory before the evidence appears. They call forth opportunity where others see only obstacles. Develop the practice of speaking your future into the present. Describe your goals as if they are already yours. Announce your intentions as if you cannot fail. This is not delusion. It is creation in its rawest form. Your subconscious does not know the difference between a current fact and a vividly felt affirmation. When you speak of yourself as healthy, wealthy, focused, and unstoppable, your mind goes to work assembling the evidence to make it true. Do this every single day until you have become too strong to doubt yourself and too persistent to be denied by anyone or anything. Guard your mind from the mental noise of the masses. Most people spend their lives repeating borrowed beliefs, inherited fears, and second-hand limitations. They speak of recession, crisis, and uncertainty because that is the climate of their minds. You must be different. You must become an outlier, a solitary lighthouse that signals confidence in a sea of confusion. Refuse to let the headlines, the gossip, or the opinions of the crowd rent space in your mind. Instead, read what uplifts you, listen to what strengthens you, and engage only in conversations that feed your faith. When doubt arises, and it will, deal with it as a surgeon deals with infection, swiftly and without apology. Examine the root. Is it a fear of failure, rejection, ridicule? Challenge it. Speak a stronger word over it. Say, that is not my story. I am writing a new chapter. My future is not chained to my past, nor limited by the fears of others. Repeat this process until faith drowns out uncertainty. This mental discipline is the difference between those who finish the race and those who quit at the first sign of resistance. The highest law of attraction is gratitude spoken with conviction. You multiply your blessings by recognizing and verbalizing them. Make it a daily practice to list your assets, not just money or possessions, but qualities of character, clarity, lessons learned, opportunities ahead. Speak gratitude for what you have and for what is coming. Gratitude turns the key in the lock of abundance. It signals to life itself that you are ready for more. A grateful mind attracts even more to be grateful for, while a complaining mind finds itself perpetually stuck in scarcity. Let your enthusiasm be contagious. Speak with such energy and belief that others are uplifted by your presence. You will find that opportunity does not just come to you, it comes through you. As others seek out your vision, your courage, your spirit, this is the beginning of true leadership. The ability to inspire action, confidence, and hope in others by the force of your own example. Never underestimate the power of a single word of encouragement, a well-timed compliment, or a bold declaration of faith in another person. What you give returns to you magnified. Finally, commit to the discipline of lifelong growth. The man who is always learning, always speaking to his next level, always affirming his potential, never grows old in spirit. He becomes a living magnet for opportunity, resources, and influential allies. His results compound, not because of luck, but because he has trained his mind to be perpetually open, grateful, and expectant. This is the destiny available to anyone willing to master their inner dialogue and align their words with the highest vision of their life. Never again underestimate the force of your words. They are the blueprints of your destiny, the silent architects of every breakthrough and every setback. Speak boldly. Think abundantly. Act decisively. You are attracting to yourself, right now, the results your mind and mouth have prepared for you. Change them, and you change everything. Your next opportunity is already searching for you. Make sure you are speaking the language it recognizes. The rest of your life will be shaped by the stories you tell yourself and the words you dare to speak. Choose them with intention. The world and everything you desire in it is listening